What's the nature of your responses to the ever-changing flow of form and circumstance that we call our lives? Are they archaic and obsolete, or are they fresh and visionary? How do I tell? I ask myself as I ask myself that question. What's the criteria for determining the obsoleteness or the non-obsoleteness of my responses to this thing I call my life? Well, let me invite you to ask yourself this. Generally speaking, what do I typically think about the quality of my earth life? Just remember, there are no right or wrong answers. There is only the truth of what is, the supreme awareness that has the power to set us free, once discerned and acknowledged. Set us free from the mischief of a set of obsolete responses, dominating and determining the quality of our earth lives. Now, to help process that inquiry effectively, let me invite you right now to give yourself permission to come apart for a little while. Right now, just do that by focusing your attention on your breath for a little bit. Just let your attention shift to your breath right where you're sitting. And notice about 5 or 6 cycles in and out. Let your mind play with the possibilities and notice what comes up as true for you when you inquire, generally speaking, what do I typically think about the quality of my earth life? And then add, is it my tendency to feel content or disappointed? And notice what spontaneously comes up in response to that inquiry. What do I typically think about the quality of my earth life? Am I content or disappointed? Now, when that question is resolved, acknowledge the answer. Thank the source of all wisdom from which it comes. And then proceed in a similar fashion to consider your typical relationship with the following states of being. Remembering to begin your inquiry with, generally speaking, what do I typically feel about my life? Am I happy or sad? Work with that for a few breaths. Am I confident or insecure? Let the answers just emerge out of the deep pool of wisdom within you. The truth that's within you. There's no right or wrong answers, just truth. Do I typically believe I am worthy or ashamed? Am I understanding or resentful? Blaming? Am I caring or indifferent? Let the responses float up spontaneously. And then as they float up, notice them. Remember them. Take a deep breath and thank the forces of the universe that give us these opportunities and give us the capacity to do this kind of process, to explore what is true for us. Then come on back here for a moment and consider. Chances are most of you will discover that the majority of your dominant tendencies are grounded in the more enlightened realms of human possibility. You tend to feel peaceful and confident and worthy and loving and understanding and happy and enthusiastic, content, caring, in most situations with most people, most of the time. And to that we say, hey, wow, congratulations. Thank you, Father, Mother, God, for the gift and the grace that we've come this far. Just don't get lost in the fantasy, though, that your whole stash of obsolete responses is history. Somewhat cooked, we are. Totally cooked, we are not. Welcome to finishing school. And I say that advisedly because we're here. This is it. This is finishing school. Sure, generally speaking, most of us are paragons of virtue in most situations, with most people, most of the time. Hell, we all are. And let's not knock it. It took a lot of evolving to get to this point, so be grateful for it. Honor the work we've done in letting go of tons of obsolete responses, but let us not sit on our spiritual butts as if we've never heard Jesus invite us to be ye perfect as your Father in heaven is perfect. Oh, what a taskmaster he was. Oy vey, oy vey. Perfect, that means showing up with our finest and most sacred loving kindness for all people, in all situations, all the time. On the path of awakening, most is an encouraging mile marker to put behind us. Let's just not forget there's miles to go on the trail of the prodigal child before we sleep in the sweet embrace of the Divine Mother's perfect love. To examine our lives in this way makes them worth living and is the first step toward living consciously rather than as a set of obsolete responses. Said Thoreau about his stay at Walden, I went to the woods because I wished to live deliberately, to front only the essential facts of life, and see if I could not learn what it had to teach, and not, when I came to the end of my life, discover that I had never lived. The unexamined life is a second-hand life. It is so because it depends upon forces other than itself for meaning. Take those away, and the meaning is lost. An unexamined life is meaningful because the process of examination itself grants meaning and dignity to the sum of our days. Surely that is all the meaning we have need of. A life dedicated to a quest for truth draws meaning from itself and derives both dignity and fulfillment from its commitment to a deeper understanding of the true nature of being. To free ourselves from that bondage of obsolete responses, we must ask ourselves if we will stay content with off-the-shelf answers and one-size-fits-all truth, or provide our own. Charles Fillmore, co-founder of Unity, left no doubt as to where he stood on that topic. There comes a time, he said, in the life of every student of truth where they must stand up and proclaim their truth to be the truth, regardless of precedent or tradition, their truth to be the truth. And let's hear it, I would say, for Papa Charlie. And what is the work that God would have us do? The work that demands we engage the adventure of life with a fresh vision and a fearless capacity for the new wine of the gospel. It is the work of being about our Father's business, the enterprise of bringing the healing touch of love to the marketplace of all life, and not most of the time for most of the people, but all of the time for all of God's creation. It is a sacred work of being perfect as our Father, Mother in heaven is perfect. I invite you to explore the grace. Thank you so much for listening. Okay.